Here, you can exercise your rights to freedom every day without leaving your home. We don't just say, we do. It's the Stain City way.
Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk on SABC3. The stage is yours. It seems as though there isn't a day that goes by without us encountering stories of women being abused. Whether it's the shocking allegations that our favorite celebrities are beating their partners behind closed doors, or the horrific news headlines reporting on women losing their lives at the hands of their partners. The abuse of women encompasses all facets of a woman's life, including emotional, physical, sexual, even economic abuse. Oftentimes, a traumatic experience can give rise to an empowering outcome and more than focus on the horrific trauma. The basis of today's episode is about the real strength in overcoming. Samantha LaRue's fairy tale somehow turned into a nightmare. But today, she's here and she's a survivor. Take a look at this. Like a lot of people looking for companionship, Samantha LaRue found love and hoped to build a long-lasting relationship.
I fell madly in love. I was treated very well in the beginning. In fact, I was treated better than I'd ever been treated. I was spoiled, made to feel like I was a princess. In fact, that I was the most beautiful woman in the world, and there was no other woman like myself. And I belonged to him, and that we were soulmates and destined to be together. It was magical, to be honest. It was an experience I hadn't felt before. And then slowly but surely, it started to turn in the opposite direction, very subtly.
But she couldn't have anticipated that her once romantic relationship would deteriorate into a nightmare of abuse.
The relationship in the beginning was absolutely wonderful. And then very slowly, the relationship started to turn into control and jealousy, asking me where I was all the time, who I was speaking to, things that in the beginning you seem to, for whatever reason, are flattered by, but eventually it becomes impossible to live with the control. And then eventually it turned into a jealous rage. One particular day, out of a rage, he entered my home and pulled everything out of my bathroom cupboards, out of frustration and anger. And it was the first time that I actually started to get scared.
Left with nowhere else to turn, Samantha asked for help from her family and sought a protection order against her abuser.
I got locked out of my home right at the end. We'd been together for 8 years. We'd just come back from an exhausting 3 weeks holiday in America with 6 children. On our return from the holiday, I experienced him being angry with me for being exhausted and having a little bit too much wine on a Sunday afternoon. He decided that the relationship was over, and that was on the Monday. 7 days later, he got very angry and went to the home and had the locks changed and put some of my clothes and belongings into black bags and suitcases and left it at the security and told me I couldn't return.
Realizing more support was needed for victims of abuse, Samantha turned a traumatic experience into something positive to help others and has never looked back. Whew, girl.
Yes.
Do you know what stood out for me in your story there? Is you say, in the beginning, these behaviors we as women find so flattering, right?
Absolutely.
And in hindsight, you're just like, whoa, loony. Do you know what I'm saying? What was like, you know, the height of like the love when you found everything flattering? What would you do?
Basically make me feel like I'm the most beautiful woman in the world. I can't even begin to explain it. It was an experience that was heightened all the time. High experience of love and affirmation all the time, which now I realize was a little bit too much.
Did you ever, have healthy disagreements in the beginning? Were you like, no, don't do this, no, don't do that? You know what I'm saying? Like in honeymoon stage where you disagreeing about things, but in a lovey-dovey way, you know?
Yes, in the beginning there were normal disagreements, but it slowly started to change and then turned into violence.
Before he hits you, there's like, is there threatening?
He didn't hit me until the very end, and only once. But threatening, no. Controlling, asking questions. Who are you talking to on the phone? Who are you on WhatsApp with? Where are you? And in the beginning you think, oh, he wants to know where I am all the time. And then you start to realize this is unhealthy because he's asking questions that, quite honestly, you can't live with that constant control of where you are, what you're doing. And you start to realize that it's not so healthy.
Because, you can also pass it off as, oh, he's just so insecure, so it's my job to make him feel secure. So it's my job to not make him wonder where I am. It's my job to make sure that, he always knows that I'm not speaking to other men. Did you go through these motions?
Well, I don't think I thought he was insecure. I thought he was being loving and romantic in a way that I'd never experienced before. And then it became too much. And then you start to walk on eggs because you can't answer enough. Okay. Your answers aren't good enough. You can't explain enough. And it becomes impossible to live in that space.
Did he ever blame you for his behavior?
Absolutely.
Like, you're making me do this?
Absolutely. He accuses me of being an alcoholic, which is very interesting because I think I nearly became one, if the truth be told. A lot of women turn to either obesity or anorexia, self-medication. Wine's the easiest one. It's very easy to have access to. So he would blame me and say, like our holiday, he broke up with me because after our holiday in America, we got back and we had friends for lunch and we'd come home and I'd been on a 36-hour flight with 6 children. And yes, I had too much champagne and fell asleep. That was unacceptable. And that is why he locked me out of my house.
Was he ever abusive in front of your children?
Absolutely.
And what does this do to your relationship with them then and, through the healing process and then now?
My kids started to lose faith in me and respect, obviously, even as young as they were. They didn't understand. They kept questioning me. My son even asked me one day, strangely enough, at the tender age of 8, what on earth are you doing with this man? Logic from a child, and I'm the adult, But you get so caught up in the experience that sadly you can't see. However, it was my children that was the reason I eventually decided it was enough.
What was the last straw? What was enough? I get that you're the children, but did he do something?
He screamed at my son before we left on holiday over suitcases and traumatized the child over something so simple. And my boy was devastated. And I said to my son, we don't have this. We were leaving to go on holiday to America. And I remember saying to my son, we don't have to do this. And he said, no, Mommy, I want to go to Disney World. And I said, when we get back, we don't have to do this. And when we got back, I still didn't want to end the relationship with him. And ironically, he ended the relationship with me because of the Sunday, falling asleep, having too much champagne. How dare I, after being with the children 3 weeks in Disney World.
When did you admit to yourself that I am in an abusive relationship?
I think I knew it for a long time. I think I didn't want to accept it. Difference, knowing and accepting, 2 different things. But when you become financially dependent on somebody who provides for you, and you're 44 years old, you haven't worked in 15 years, what do? Where do you go? Who do you phone? Who's going to help you? And you come from an affluent background. How dare you? You just spoiled brat that isn't behaving yourself. It's quite the contrary.
Okay, Cornerstone Woman they launched next week, Friday, the 11th of August, and Samantha will tell us all about it. All these questions she was asking, who do you go to, what do you do? She has the answers later in the show. After the break, we hear more encounters from women who escaped abuse and found solace through this non-profit organization.
Hi, I'm Tracy Lee Oliver, and I am against women and child abuse.
I'm Joke Silva, an actress and producer. One of the things that I find that we tend to forget is that God made men to be extremely strong so that they can protect women, not to batter the women. And they made the adults strong so that they can protect the children, not to abuse them. So let's do what we were created to do. Protect, nurture, grow, so that we live in a world where we all will be happy.
And welcome back to Real Talk. Today, we're going into the lives of courageous women who have fought their way back from abusive environments to reclaim their independence, just like my next guest, Devon Ledbetter. She was just days away from walking down the aisle to say her I do's to her fiancé at the time, when she finally decided the pain he was putting her through was not worth what could have been a marriage tainted by abuse. She joins us now to share her story.
Sure.
You had your dress and everything.
Dress, everything. Invites had gone out to guests overseas.
People are flying in.
They actually still flew in after I cancelled the wedding.
And what did you just had a party?
I had a party to actually praise the Lord and say thank you that I'm alive.
And he obviously wasn't invited.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So, I mean, when he asks you to marry him, are you already in an abusive relationship?
Anele, you know what? If I have to speak at that present moment, I thought, as Samantha had mentioned on her relationship, that she was treated like a complete princess. When I met him, everything was extreme. There were flowers every day. He didn't want me to drive my car to work. He would drive me to work, fetch me from work, take me home. I mean, what a lovely man. He clearly loved me with all of his heart, but that was a controlling feature that I now understand in hindsight. If I look at while we were living together, the way he would not want me to go and see my family.
Isolation.
If we did go and see my family, he wouldn't communicate. He would sit in a corner. If I had media functions, he would just stand in the corner and not communicate with anybody, and then belittle me once we got home and
say what?
Be aggressive and say, you'd be speaking to everybody, you should be standing next to me. Where he knew when he met me that I was in the media space. If I have to look at the other controlling factors were, he said to me, sell your car, and he bought me a car as a gift, and I thought, wow, how lovely is that, and told me to get rid of my 2 cars, which thank the Lord I never did. But that was a controlling mechanism there as well, so that I would
tracker in it?
Be dependent on him. We moved into a house and told me to sell all my furniture. And we would move into a fully furnished house.
Slowly getting rid of everything that is you, so that all you are is just an extension of him, right?
100%, 100%.
So, when he asks you to marry him, why do you say yes if you understand that there's something very monsterish going on here?
You know what? When you're a career woman and you're quite high profiled, it's very difficult for you when you've gone down a certain road to actually agree that you might have made a huge mistake. You're so far down that road and you firmly believe that you can change that person. I'm a strong individual. I'm in the face of the limelight. I can fix this. I don't want to be seen as a failure. And I think I coaxed myself into believing that. And when I did get engaged to him, yes, I did love him. And I hadn't realized the extent of the abuse, the verbal abuse. I'm adopted, and he used to say to me, "You're lucky I'm with you, your biological family didn't want you." And when somebody says those kind of things to you over and over again, your subconscious begins to believe it, and your self-esteem completely disappears.
How bad did it get?
Well, they say your life begins at 40, and the night of my 40th birthday was the first time he hit me. And my little girl saw what had happened and ran off screaming. Twice post that, he had hit me. A friend had seen it and confronted him about it. A gentleman friend of mine that I actually lost subsequent because I didn't leave him after he had hit me. He then, we went away, and he forced himself on me. And when I said no, he screamed at me in an outrage as a complete monster and told me get in the car as we were driving back to Johannesburg at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I refused to put my daughter in the car. And he left us there 400 kilometers outside of Johannesburg. And as a mother, you know, mommy lioness comes out, and all you have to do is you have to protect your child.
Yeah.
And in the morning I woke up and I said, well, we're going on an adventure. And we walked through this nature reserve and found a farm worker that actually gave us a lift to Mashadadorp. He had my handbag in his car with my wallet. My sister, it was actually, I think it was a Citybug shuttle that allowed my sister to EFT money, and they were unbelievably amazing in the support. And we got home, and he was not at the house. And then about 3 or 4 days later, which is quite ironic that I'm sitting here today, because it's almost a year ago.
Really? That recent?
Yes, he broke into the house at about 2 o'clock in the morning in a rage. And all I recall is my little girl screaming, please stop hitting my mommy. And I think that was the breaking point for me, because my job on this earth is to protect her. And she's in her formative years. And now she thinks that that is acceptable.
Yeah, yeah.
And
have you and her been for therapy?
yeah, we have.
Okay.
We have. But it has just been, you know, a lot of people say, like, why did you stay there? And I had spoken to my parents, and a lot of people knew what the situation was. And I said, this has to be a calculated exit.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that financially we're okay, that she is going to be safe, that a lot of things had to be in place. We were in business together as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you lose your business?
I had to walk away from everything. And I think that's when the hardest thing is, because you know,
you've built that as well. It's like your other child as well, you know?
You know, you've built that, and you've walked away from it, and everyone says, well, you know what, you're a stronger person for it. But then your depression hits, and I think that is one of the hardest things. You can go through all of that abuse, but when that depression hits and you start that self-evaluation of how could I have allowed that to happen? Why did I not see those signs? Why did I allow it to go on for so long? And I spiraled terribly.
Did you ever consider going back?
You know, once or twice you get a soft spot, because you remember the good times. Yes, there were good times, but then there were the times when he was an absolute monster. I mean, I would sometimes sleep in my daughter's room with the door locked, or go and sleep in my helper's room, so that when he came home out of his mind, he wouldn't know where I was. Or you lie in bed and you just try and not breathe to hope that he just doesn't come near you. I remember phoning my parents and saying that I had to get out of the house immediately, and bless my parents, they came there, and I just met Sam from Cornerstone Woman, and her help and counseling and mentoring, you know, as a friend as well as someone that's gone through this, was just really comforting, and helped me stay strong, because you asked me, did I contemplate going back?
Yeah.
Yes, you do, because your self-esteem is so low and you don't know who you are, where you're going.
So you said something now, counseling and therapy. We're going to catch up with you later, right? Because that at the end, this is what I want to talk about now, like the actual process that you guys go through at Cornerstone. Thank you so much. Devlin, like I say, will be joining us a little later. Coming up next, we meet Marie and Kane Mavrodaris. I hope I'm saying that right. A married couple who found a way to save their marriage amidst abuse. Stay with us.
Good day, South Africa. My name is Sharon Mukuze, and I stand against the abuse of women and children.
Hi, my name is Bob Mabena. If you remember anything at all that I've said in the past 28 years since I've been in the public eye, Cornerstone is coming and you should take heed.
And welcome back to Real Talk. The harsh reality for a lot of women is that they feel trapped and find it difficult to leave toxic relationships. But what happens in the event of a couple wanting to save their marriage amidst the abuse? Marie and Kane Mavrodaris are here to talk about exactly that. Kane, I just want to say that I always say men will teach men not to abuse. And there aren't enough men speaking about it when they have been the abusers. So thank you for coming here. I know this is difficult, and I know you are very nervous. But honestly, thank you for your time.
Cheers.
So you've been married for 3 years?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, and how long have you been dating? Like, let's add the marriage and the dating.
We started dating on the 5th of November, 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 6 years.
Oh, thank God. You came through
Just
for me
getting
there.
to 6 years.
You came through for me there. And when was the first time he was abusive with you?
I think right in the beginning of our relationship, but...
What was it? Did he say something? Did he push you? Did he...
He encouraged me to do things that I didn't want to do. Initially, I liked him quite a lot, so I did them. But then afterwards, I told him that I didn't enjoy it and it wasn't really my scene or my vibe and that I didn't want to do it anymore. And he said, okay, cool, I'm sorry. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to carry on with our relationship. You know, like, let's build on this relationship. I don't want to do that either. You're right. And then it would just happen again and again and again. And I started becoming ashamed and I didn't want to tell anyone. And I started excluding myself and I didn't want to hang around with certain people anymore. And I just isolated myself from the world and I ate a lot.
Were you purposely isolating her from everything, you know?
He wasn't isolating me, I was isolating myself.
Why?
Because I was ashamed. I think I thought that I was stronger than that and better than that, and I didn't want to. I thought that I don't actually.
Did you find her? Did you find that she would hide your behavior from the people she loved, Kane?
Definitely. She was protecting me a lot. Yeah, what I was doing was I also tried to hide it from her at times. You know, I wasn't just all proud about it. So I would do things and try and get away with them. And then eventually I'd get caught. And then, I had to face the music and I didn't enjoy that. And this was a bit of a cycle.
Sorry, when you guys say do things, is this cheating? Because it sounds like either cheating or doing drugs, like...
You're 100% right.
Okay.
All of the above.
So I'm reading into it properly. So he was getting you into the drug abuse and you were like, I don't like that, and then it forced you into it. Okay, so here we are. Why did we decide to stay together? And what was the first step in realizing that, okay, we're staying together and we have to make this work? What had to happen, Kane?
Well, you know, it's quite a good thing. Marie eventually had enough, and she told my parents. She said to me, we needed a bit of family help. They had a word with me, so that put me onto the right track. And then we tried a few programs, and things wasn't quite getting there. And then we met Sam from Cornerstone, and she had a chat to Marie. She had a chat to myself, and we went on this program, and we kind of through the gospel, we found a way through. And I mean, I love Marie, so where there's a will, there's a way. You know, the issues that were at hand were more deep rooted.
On your end?
With me, from my side, for sure. It was things that have happened. I felt that these were coping mechanisms that I was doing, and she couldn't handle the coping mechanisms quite rightly.
And neither could you, obviously.
No.
You're forcing them on somebody else.
100%, yeah.
And I mean, would he ever physically make you take the drugs? I do this, but like, I don't know what I'm doing, so. Yeah.
Am I allowed to say?
Just
anyway,
don't swear.
No, I won't
okay,
swear.
then come through.
When I've had too much alcohol, he would give me a line of cocaine to help me feel better and straighten up so that I could compose myself.
Don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
You sloppy drunk.
Well, no, it was more an enticing, he's doing it for me kind of way, not for him. Like to make me feel better so that I'm not, yes.
And did you ever feel like you were the weak one? And because he's fine and he's doing these drugs and, you know, and he's fine and look at him, he's happy, then surely it's me that's wrong.
Not in the moment, no, but in the like in the days after that, I felt angry and frustrated and cross with myself for making promises to myself that I didn't keep, cross with myself for making promises to my friends that I didn't keep, because I would confide in certain people, but I never told one person the full story. I'd only tell certain people certain things, and the first person that I actually told was my neighbor, because I didn't care what she thought, but I needed to tell somebody. And I don't know, I was frustrated with myself and I didn't enjoy how I seemed. So when he would then pay attention to me, I thought that I wasn't that bad. And I enjoyed the affection and attention because I was feeling worthless and like I couldn't even keep a promise to myself. And I would take it out on him, and as opposed to where some of the other ladies that have spoken have said that their partners were jealous and asking them where they are and what they're doing.
You were the one.
I was the one that was obsessed with where he is, what he's doing, who he's with, how much money he spent, what he spent it on. So,
Kane, what is the state of the relationship now?
It's a lot better. It's a work in progress.
Work in progress.
Well, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We have our ups and downs. It's like a road. There's a couple of potholes, but there's a couple of nice scenes as well.
All right. And do you not like live on eggshells? Because if he even says to you, you know, have another drumstick, you do not like freak out and be like, oh, he's telling me what to do again. Do you know what I'm saying? Are you,
Definitely. I do still, but I had to deal with my own insecurities and I had to build up my self-esteem, and that's what Cornerstone Woman did for me. I stopped obsessing on him and everything that he was doing, and I started looking at myself and empowering myself. One of the things that Sam actually said to me,
take your time. Take your time.
I was done. I was ready to leave. Even though he was the father of 2 of my children, I just had enough, and I thought that I was strong enough to stand up against him and to walk away, but every time I kept breaking these promises to myself and to my friends, so I was done. I just wanted to get out of this relationship. And I met Sam and she said, sorry.
Take a moment. Take your time.
I met Sam and she said, okay. I told her that I'd finally confided in my own family. My family were the last people that I told because I thought that it would be easier for Kane's flesh and blood to forgive him because he's obviously family. So my family were the last people that I told. And I was asked by my family to give it 1 more year because my children are so young. And that was quite frustrating because I felt like they didn't believe me and they thought that I was over-exaggerating and people wouldn't believe that what he was doing was that bad, you know, so just give it another year. And then when I met Sam, she said, give me 3 months. And 3 months sounded doable compared to 12 months. And she said, in 3 months' time, you're either going to be able to walk away, strong, empowered woman that you are, and a mother and successful, or you're going to renew your vows. And as much as I wanted to give it the 3 months, I was also like, I've given it everything I've got for the last 5 years. I'm not doing anything. I won't get divorced, but I'm not going to give it any more than I already have. And through the program and through the counseling that we've received, it's just gotten better and better and better.
All right. I want to get into this program. I want to get into this counseling. Thank you so much for your time, guys. You are braver and stronger than you ever know. And thank you for putting work into it.
Thank you.
Woo! More with Real Talk on the other side of the break.
Hi South Africa, my name is Cheryl Shabane and I'm from Frida Hartley Shelter for Destitute Women and Children. I stand against women and child abuse.
Hello, I'm Gerald Mr. Jingwan Diambira. As a man who's a father to a daughter and a husband to a wife, I stand against all violence against women and children.
Hello, I'm Rami Chweni, and I'm against women and children abuse. I'm calling upon each and everyone, saying let's stand up together and make this country a great country that we're supposed to live in. Let's make it safe for our women. Let's make it safe for our children. Guys, come help us. We need you. And don't you forget, Cornerstone is coming.
And welcome back to Real Talk on SABC3. The stage is yours. Cornerstone Woman prides itself on providing abused women with the necessary tools to pick themselves up and regain their power. We've got the founder of Cornerstone Woman, Samantha Leroux, joining me alongside two ambassadors, Devon Ledbetter as well as Marie Mavrodaris. We've heard their stories. I want to know more now about Cornerstone, okay? So, because we've heard your stories. Sam, let me go to you. The first step to you, embarking on this journey, obviously was for you initially, and then you take people along with you. Walk me through that.
Well, basically, I think I woke up and realized that had I didn't have the friends and family around me, the people who quickly came together and provided me with a place to stay and some money immediately and a car to use. And in those moments of all that chaos, while everybody developed a structure for me, I started to wonder to myself, what happened to other women? Where do they go? And it was in that experience, also on what I was experiencing myself physically, mentally and emotionally, where do I go? Do I go to a psychologist? Is there a help group? Who can I turn to in our country that I would feel comfortable with approaching to hear my story and support me? And my research gave me groups out there, and there are infrastructures. But for me, personally, they lacked a complete holistic program that would address absolutely everything. And so I decided to develop it and put together something that removed any excuse for her to say, I can't leave because I don't have a car, I don't have legal assistance, I don't have money. Where am I gonna sleep tonight? How am I gonna pay the school fees?
But you have to earn the trust of people. And I want to know from you, Marie, why did you trust her? I like the way you eye her, before you answer.
Because of what she went through, and I related to what she said, and she understood me, and just being able to speak to somebody that's been in a similar situation. So I just...
Devon, you said something very important, and I don't know if you realize you'd said it, but you spoke about losing your business when you finally left an abusive situation, and also you said, I'm a media person, I'm a powerful woman, this is not supposed to happen to me. And I think that's a very a big reason that women don't leave, because what are people going to say, right? What did you find about Cornerstone Woman that eased you into just kind of letting go of these titles that we hold on to, thinking that they make us?
Anele, I think my story with Cornerstone Woman is very different. Samantha saw something that I'd posted on Facebook and got in contact with me via Messenger and said, I have a calling, there is a reason that you and I need to chat to each other. She arrived at a meeting place, and we started to have a discussion. I had other people sitting at the table, and the discussion moved away from doing business, and it moved away to everyone at that table beginning to tell their story on what had happened in their lives, and seeing the fact that everybody was so comfortable around each other allowed us to share. And I think that's when my confidence was built with Sam on, how do we help other women? We tell our story. And the fact that I launched Forbes magazine, I was involved with Jacaranda, Heat, FHM, I've launched companies globally, and I'm now able, thanks to the support and the mentorship of Sam, Cornerstone Woman, and my family and friends, I'm able to sit here and say to people, you too can be like me. Those bruises, those broken bones should be an affirmation every time you think about it, about your self-esteem and what your rights are.
Sam, how do you, 'cause it is a calling, clearly, if you can see it through Facebook statuses, you're like, okay, I need to zero in on this one and send a virtual hug immediately. So it is a calling, but how do you, make a woman comfortable with the fact that, because also, like she said, she's launched Forbes, she's worked for Jacaranda and global businesses, right? How do you make them still feel like you're still that person? You're still that person in spite of all of this?
Because I'm not afraid to share my own Jerry Springer story. Every single part of it. There's nothing that I've done that I've experienced that I'm ashamed of. I look only to God for his acceptance, and that's already been done. And yeah, I think it is a calling, because I think it's very, very important that we strip away the mask off ourselves. If the women and children of the world are in trouble, the world's in trouble. And right now we're in very, very big trouble. And I don't think it has anything to do with money or status or anything. We have to come together as human beings, particularly mothers of the world, for our children. And I think that women gain trust with me because I'm that brutally honest.
There we go. Now I want to ask you this. So now, come through. Now these women sitting on, both sides of you, one left, one is still there, right? How do you work out that, I'm going to help you to stay and it's going to get better, or I'm going to help you to leave? Who is it dependent on?
On themselves. I can't convince anybody to do anything. Everybody's in control of their own journeys. I just like to think that our concept will give you the tools to make better decisions for yourself. Cornerstone Woman doesn't advocate divorce. This is an abuse problem, but I don't particularly want to create 250,000, 500,000 single mothers and their children out there. We have a hero on stage today. His name is Cain. He's not afraid to share his Jerry Springer story and bear all to the world. There's massive power in that, because if we actually are going to change the world, we have to work with ourselves first, and that means the woman has to work with her and the man has to work with himself. This is an opinion, and it's mine. Doesn't mean it's fact. She's as broken as he is. The man who abused me is not all bad. He's not a complete monster. He's a human being. He's going through things that the world offers today. And it's very difficult. We live in a society where there's quick fixes, there's drugs, there's porn, there's things that are, quite frankly, evil. And we indulge in them. And through that, our characters change, our world changes.
Because you're escaping.
Absolutely.
So you just shift to the next thing.
And
that
we
makes
don't
you
even
feel
know what
good.
we're escaping from anymore. We're spiritual beings in a materialistic void. For me, the individuals have to make the decision themselves. Do I want to fix families? Absolutely, without a doubt. Can we fix all of them?
No.
Absolutely not. It's the individual that'll decide their journey. Cain made a decision to fix his family. Despite being an abusive man, he ticked all the boxes. That's a hero.
So it's almost time for us to wrap up the show. After the break, we'll find out about the launch event that Cornerstone has planned. It's happening next week, Friday, on the 11th of August. We'll be right back. And for the last time today, welcome back to Real Talk. Thank you so much for joining us for what has been an important and necessary conversation around women abuse and healing. I'm in studio with Samantha LaRue, Devon Lidbed, as well as Marie Mavrodaris. Got it right. Yay. So 11th of August, next week Friday, Cornerstone launches, right? Tell me about it. Where is, are you allowed to tell us where it is? Because
I don't know, are we?
No, because I don't know. Is it not like a safety thing? Crazy husbands come find the woman?
No, we can tell you.
Okay, tell us.
So next Friday at the Monroe Boutique Hotel in Houghton, we're going to launch Cornerstone to the world, and to South Africa first, and then in God's time to the world. And it's very exciting. It's our very first fundraising event. Because you can imagine that the only way I'm going to help anybody, and our team's going to help anybody, is by the grace of God, first of all, and his strength, and then with money. And we're going to be able to pay the counselors and the people that are working, that have worked for the past 19 months, absolutely free, to put this together, and already helping women and men. So on Friday, we launch to the world, and we go public, so that we can start raising funds, and start helping the woman. We're already helping them as much as we can in the elements that we have available to us. But unfortunately, as most things in life, we're going to require funding.
So is there a house where Cornerstone is where we can go and live if I'm leaving an abusive situation?
Yes, there is a place.
Okay.
Yes, there is a place.
And what's the Cornerstone concierge?
I
like the way I said that as well, concierge.
That is a brilliant concept that was born out of our media agency, Joe Public Ignite.
Oh,
and
I know them.
Yes, incredible. Pippa and Ursula and the team have tucked away at this for 19 months and gone and come up with the most incredible concepts, concierge being one of them. And it's a platform where we will put women through our program, rehabilitate them, and we will offer services to corporates, and we'll come and do services so that we can raise money and empower women to come through our program. It's a very exciting part of the concept.
Devon, what has, this last 18 months taught you about yourself?
I think the last 18 months has taught me to focus, create another vision board, decide where I want to go in my life, and know that I need to make a change. And it's almost surreal that I feel I'm blessed that I was hit because I have a voice, and now I'm able to use that voice to help other women.
So you two, Devon and Marie, you guys are ambassadors.
Correct.
What does an ambassador do? Marie, talk to me.
I'm here to try and relate to people that are possibly watching. Sorry, I'm not.
You are doing so well.
I'm just so emotional because I want them to know I'm not crying because I'm broken, because I'm not. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I just want them to know that there is help out there and that they don't have to hide and cry in the background anymore, and that they can reach out to us, and that there is a platform for them to change their story.
And what has the past 3 years taught you about yourself?
Well, I've improved my relationship with my creator, and I've drawn closer to him. I think that's been the biggest change, focusing on him and not on everything that was wrong with my relationship or with my husband, and just to enjoy being alive and not to hide and not to be ashamed. So I got my self-esteem back.
So Sam, are you still lurking the streets of Facebook to look for women who need help? How do they find you?
Well, now they can find us on email over the next couple of months as we go on a fundraising campaign. So they would be able to send an email to me, sam@cornerstonewoman.com, or they could go to our Facebook page. And we have a team, a voluntary team at the moment that is backing me up. And we will be able to respond to them as quickly as we possibly can. I have an incredible team. God has brought some phenomenal people to this concept who all give and are actually far more qualified than I am. And they are putting this together. And we'll help you. No story that you have is too bad. There's nothing you can tell me that will make me judge you. I've probably done it.
You've been through it. You've
I've
seen
been
it.
through it, and I've been because we have to take. I need to say that she needs to take accountability and responsibility for her own journey. We are equally as damaged as our abuser. It's a toxic relationship that feeds off each other. We need to empower ourselves and take charge of our lives.
Okay, so I have to ask, because this is South Africa.
Yes.
It looks a little white up here.
Allow me.
Absolutely. Is that even a question?
Allow me to make a comment there. And you asked, as an ambassador, what does that mean? It allows us to go and tell our story. And as Cornerstone Woman Ambassador, I've just recently done a talk at UJ to the SSGVB group of people. And the stories that came out from these young children from the townships that are at the universities, and the letters that they've written to us saying, I watched my father burning my mother. So yes, we are sitting here at the moment, as this is the initial stage, But believe me, abuse does not choose any color. It doesn't choose
So,
any agenda.
welcome there.
Everybody's
Because I know Twitter's like, yeah, where the blacks at. So I just want to protect you. So people are like, this Cornerstone.
The chairman of our board is Mrs. Happy Molefe.
Okay.
Very much all women together.
Does she follow her name? Is she happy?
Yes, she's actually very happy.
Just checking. Okay, so listen. I'm being silly. Thank you so much, guys. And I'm so glad that we can like laugh at the end of this, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's what you're providing.
Joy.
You know, joy. Joy
Change your
after
story to joy.
all of it.
Move out from the dark into the light.
Okay.
And with God, all things are possible.
Listen. Thank you so much, Devon. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you for having us.
Marie Antoinette. A big thank you to all my guests for sharing their stories. I mean, a difficult experience to talk about, but they're here, an experience that far too many women all over the world have in common. Let's do this again tomorrow. We've got the comedy Empire Kids in the house, the Goliaths, from all of us here at Real Talk and SABC3. Bye-bye.